Well, the reason we're putting these two bolts in is because this is the face of the cross. I keep calling this a beam. This is the face of the cross, and you can see we've got a pretty good sized check in here, which is not going to check anymore. Typically it doesn't. Once it started that check, it'll be okay. But the engineers feel like it's best if we stabilize this check where it won't move anymore. So, as I mentioned, what we're doing is we're putting a couple of these bolts in here. So, I've already got this one in. It goes all the way through, and it comes out the other side. Well, trying to do two things at once. Comes out the other side right here, and it's, again, to hold and stabilize this. We'll put another one right here, going all the way through again, same scenario, where you've got the big lag bolt and really holding it together. Then a little bit later on, what we're going to do is, in the middle here, we're going to have a 1-inch threaded piece of hardware that's going to drill into here, go in between these two, and in the back of this, I'm going to cut out a hole, and that's where the lag bolt is going to connect. That's going to hold the cross up. That's all. This is one of the times I wish I had a film crew with me, because I'm going to try my best to explain what I'm doing, have some eye contact, and then show some of the work that I'm doing. So I'll try this, and hopefully it won't get too very bumpy. But what I've got is I've got my flat table, if you will, and we're going to go ahead and we're going to route out the section here for the plug. This is again a mock-up of what the plug will look like, and it's a little bigger because what's going to happen is, you could see on my router here, I've got this collar, and inside that collar is the router bit. So as I plunge down into the hole, it's going to make this flat hole off of this really unflat area of the beam. You can see that my finger comes through here, and so we can't rest the router on top of the side of the beam here, so we have to establish that mark with a level area here. So that's why I've got my little makeshift table. So I've got the camera zoomed in a little lower here so you can watch what I'm doing. It's fairly loud, it's fairly dusty. I'm going to turn the fan on. We'll turn it off when we're done. So here we go. Well, that cracking we heard, that was basically, there's some wood chips in there on the side that were getting loose and just running around in that router. Wasn't cutting it, it was just bumping up against that router bit. So let's go ahead and take a look and see what we've got here. Okay, we still have our template down, and I've got it clamped really well, because what I want to try to do now is, you can see I've got these center lines going either way. I want to try to find the center line of this hole, and it's really hard when you have no reference on a crooked, beaten up looking cross. So what we try to do is get as close as we can. So take my square horizontally and just kind of eyeball it down. Draw a line, eyeball it down this way, draw a line. Alright, so as I mentioned, the next step is that we need to go ahead and drill. Now that we've got the hole for the plug that's going to go in there, now we have to have the hole big enough to be able to seat the washers and the nut. And that's done with a 1.5-inch paddle bit. So we'll go down a good 1.5 inches or so, because we need to go higher at least than that bit itself. I'm sorry, than the hex head. So the holes are done. The bolt is in from the bottom. 2 washers, big old washers, lock washer, nut. We'll put them on there, tighten them up. Maybe a little persuading. Nice thing is, it was a perfect fit. Put it on there and away we go.